What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As I said in the previous video, today we're gonna be working on the rear suspension of the car. So this will be part 2 of the video. So the goal today is to take the subframe out and make a jig. Make a jig out of it so we can start setting up the mounting points. And I already went ahead and started working on that. So you can see right here, this will be my 4 mounting points of the rear subframe. But I need a jig so I can, duplicate it if I need to, and then that's another video. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working on that right now, and see where we see if we can finish it. Okay, so there you have that chunk of metal. So it's essentially 6 bolts holding it up, 3 on each side. So there. You undo those 3 and it drops down. Simple. All right, so I had to run out and get some materials for this. So plan here is that I'm gonna have to mark where all these holes go, right there, drill those out, and then I'm gonna bolt them in place, and then I'm gonna have to start making some metal brackets that will stand out all the way to catch that hole, and so on and so forth. So I don't really got a plan for this. I'm just gonna figure this thing out as I go. Pretty much what I've done with all this build. There is no manual for this. This is all out of my head, so I'm doing it as I go. Alright, so here's where we are. I bolted the bars here, 4 mounting points. So what I'm gonna do next is put a 9/8 right here to catch this bolt, and then do some bracing across so that is all one unit, and then we'll go from there. So here's what I got so far. That's one mounting point. That's the other one. I'm gonna go ahead and put some welds on it so it'll move and then keep going. So I welded these cross supports here, one in the middle, one on the other. So the idea is that now I gotta catch these mounting points. That right there. Then there's another one down here, and the one in the middle somewhere down there. So I'm gonna use these. So the reason I put it like that is so that now I can come with a metal plate from the back to catch that hole, and I don't have to get both sides, I just need one side. And now I'll do the rest for the other stuff, and that should complete the jig. All right, I got this thing done. A lot of the stuff I didn't record because, you know, it's the same thing over and over again. I don't want to bore you guys with this crap. So now that everything's done, I'm just gonna take it off and see what it looks like. And this thing looks wild. Look at that. All right, so that's pretty much it for this thing. Just for funnies, I'm gonna go ahead and bolt the mounting locations on it to see what it looks like, and then I'm gonna run the tubes. All right, it's a new day. I went to buy some material, and I got these 1.5 DOM, then that flat stock, about 6 feet of it, and that should be enough to complete the rear subframe. Just to give you an idea, that one piece of 1.5 DOM is $50, so not cheap stuff. So this is where I left off. Now I just gotta go ahead and start making those tubes. Alright, so I put my first two bends on the tube. See, you can see it right there, it's lined up with the center. So if you care to know, the easiest way to do this is always to start from the center. The same thing applies to roll cages. You start from the center of the tube outwards. That way you get, you know, same distance in between bends and it looks symmetrical. So you can see right now, that's pretty even, right? So now the next step is to put another bend somewhere up here to kick it up. And after I do that, I might put a more angle into this, but we'll see. All right, so this is what I got so far. I got the horn looking thing. So just gonna go ahead and make a rough mark of where I want to cut. Somewhere there in the center of that tube more or less, and then we're gonna do the fine cuts and make it fit. Alright, so after a lot of grinding and cutting, I got this thing sitting where I want. I got enough clearance here for my arms is gonna come out, so it's looking good. Now I just gotta go ahead and tack it in place, and then if I'm happy with it, I fully weld it and move on. Alright, so this is a new day. This is where I left off. Yesterday, I started making some cardboard templates for my mounting points for the lower control arm. But yeah, today I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side, so the bar that goes from that point to there. Alright, so here's where we are right now. Got my two bends. They're looking pretty symmetrical. So now my next move is I gotta put a little bit of a kick to this leg. You can see right here from the top straight down. You can see that kicks out. So I gotta make sure I do the same on that bar. Alright, so my second bar is in place. That was a really difficult one to make. So you can see it has a bunch of bends in it. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead now, tack it in place, and then move on to, the rest of the stuff. I'll probably try to get them off the jig, weld them up together, completely welded, and then bolt it back on, and then try to do the bracing across. So there's one that goes right here, another one there, and possibly one in the center. I'm not sure about that one yet, but it's what I got in mind, so let's go ahead and do that. All right, everything welded up. Nothing moved, luckily. So everything's still sitting where it should be. Alrighty guys, so saw me weld that up in the last clip, and the next thing that we gotta do here is this mounting point right there, which is gonna be a little different from what factory does. So as you can see on the factory subframe, we got a hole through here. Now that's the only way you can actually see it, that bolts up to the chassis, right? And he picks up the one of the links on the suspension. So obviously I can't put a hole through my tube. So what I'm gonna do is make a plate that extends out and then run my tube from here straight down. And the idea is to line it up with this tab right here. So it's gonna come straight down and then connect there, and then at the same time I want to pull out the two tabs for this link. So that should work just fine. So let's go ahead and do that now. And actually I already got some pieces of tubing left over from all that cutting there. So I think these are perfect. I think these are the perfect size for that. Let me check. No, a little too short. Doesn't matter. I got longer pieces there. But yeah, so that's the idea here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start making those mounting points. Okay, here we are. So I got the two plates done, and found this piece of tubing left over, and it's a good size. I just gotta mark it and trim it to fit there. So yeah, this should work. All right. Those guys are in place, so you can see there. Looks pretty good on both sides. So I think I'm gonna take it off, weld the bottom, then install it back on that bolt and do the top. That way I reduce any risk of it, you know, moving around with the heat. Alright, so all that is done. So next, this bracket right here. So I'm gonna do one side, and then I'm gonna get it off the jig and do the other side. Same thing for that one. I'm gonna do this side first, and then once it's off I can do the next. And then I gotta do this one up here, and then this up there. Alright, so as you can see, I got my plates ready to get welded on. I'm just gonna have to put the little bends I need on it to make it flat, you know, to sit flush in there. And that's it. I gotta say, this took me a little longer than expected. To make those 8 brackets, it took me about almost 2 hours. So yeah, pretty time consuming. Okay, so everything is welded up now. Now the next step is to get it off the jig and do the other side of the brackets. So this guy. All right, that's pretty much it. Like I said before, I gotta make some brackets for here, for the back of this, on both sides, just to add extra support and make sure they don't bend one way or the other if it's plated right here. So the subframe is done. You can see what it was, then jig, and the subframe there. So these pieces took me a little bit to get right. Those caps right there, and then that one over there, which has like a weird bend to it, but eventually managed to get it done. So that is gonna be it for this video. In the next video, you're gonna see me probably do the sway bar mounts, which are missing is 2 brackets right here. Then probably primer and install it in the car. All right, awesome. Before I forget, I wanna also thank you guys for subscribing. Last time I mentioned 92% of you were not subscribed, and now I got down to 70%. So I really appreciate that. If you like the content, please subscribe. Thank you.